guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited but slightly nervous for today's video. I am bringing you confessions of a makeup addict, reflecting on my 2021 Sephora purchases. I was on a makeup spending low buy slash like makeup challenge. My makeup rehab series will be linked below, where I gave myself a certain number of products I wanted to bring into my collection. It's a whole thing. Go check my makeup rehab series out. Even though I was doing that like low buy, we're just gonna call it a makeup challenge. I still brought 140 makeup products into my collection last year, so I thought it'd be fun to start a little like reflection series. And I was starting to put together a video comparing my 2019 low buy to my 2021 low buy, and as I was doing that, I was going through all of my like previous spending, etc., and I thought it would be fun to just reflect on all of my Sephora purchases in 2021. I have done this previously where I've reflected on Sephora purchases from previous years, and I believe the first person I saw do a video like this was Lauren May Beauty, so I will have her channel as well as her videos linked down below. It's such a fun one to film. No judgments allowed before we go into this, but I'll basically be bringing you through each time I either ordered online or purchased something in Sephora, let you know a little bit about if I can remember like why I made this purchase, etc., and mostly just roast myself for spending way too much money on makeup and beauty. So if that sounds like something that is interesting to you, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project planning content or just chit-chatting about makeup, I would love if you would consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. I feel like I should have like a glass of wine before we like get into this, because I'm basically just gonna be roasting myself for spending way too much money. As a side note, I do have my windows open, so if you're noticing like extra noise today, like the cars driving by, I apologize, but it's like the perfect weather for the windows to be open, and my lack of mental health needs anything to like cheer me up right now, so we're gonna keep the windows open. Okay, I took screenshots of everything last night, and maybe I'll scoot over a little bit and post them over on the side here. So starting out with the bang, January 6th, 2021, and I wish I could tell you guys whether or not this was like my first makeup purchase of the year. We're only going through Sephora today. If you have other if you want me to reflect on other things, like I could do my Ulta purchases, maybe like I can do my online Ulta purchases for sure, but I don't know, like at Sephora they'll show you like the previous year in store and online. At Ulta I can only find like my online purchases, not my in store, and I feel like I frequent Ulta in store rather than purchasing as much online. Anyway, if you have other video installments in this Confessions of a Makeup Addict series that you would like to see, just let a girl know. Okay, so starting off with a bang, January 6th. We made it 6 days into January without making a purchase last year. I purchased 3 items, and I do remember making this purchase because I had been thinking about this Shiseido Synchro Skin foundation for such a long time before I ended up purchasing it, and then I feel like I saw it in a couple of people's like year-end makeup like recommendations or like favorite products, so I did go ahead and purchase that foundation. I have since decluttered it. It did not work for me and my skin at all. In fact, I felt like it looked so terrible on me. I ended up decluttering that. I also purchased the Armani Beauty Power Fabric Concealer. It's interesting because I feel like I've owned this concealer longer than just, well, I suppose would be going on 2 years come this January, but purchased that. I still have that in my collection. And then the Milk Hydro Grip Setting and Refreshing Mist. I purchased the mini and I finished that last year. It's such a good setting mist. It's hydrating, yet I do feel like it makes a difference in terms of making your makeup last longer, and it's definitely something I would consider purchasing a full size of in the future. I just have yet to do that thus far. Okay, then on January 12th, so 6 days later, I purchased the Rare Beauty Stay Vulnerable Melting Cream Blush. I use this quite a bit, but I just recently decluttered this in my most recent declutter. I'll have my declutter series linked down below. I actually just went through my full makeup collection, did a a large declutter for me. So if you're interested in that series, it's a 5-part series. I'll have it linked below. It just is not my preference when it comes to cream / liquid blushes. It is very user friendly. So if you're like a beginner and you're intimidated by cream and liquid products such as this, I would recommend this, but it's just so sheer that it didn't work for me in the way that I wanted it to. Although I will say, especially if you're someone who likes more of like a no makeup sort of look, or like office appropriate, if you will, this is a really great product because it adds like a pinch of color to your cheeks without being like super pigmented. So it's a good product. It just wasn't something that I was getting a ton of use out of, and I felt like having it in my collection made me feel like I needed to use it, because then if I wasn't using it, I felt guilty. But I also had other products that I like so much more in my personal collection that I wanted to use that I decided to declutter it. Hopefully that makes sense. Then January 28th, 2021. So how many more days did we make it? 12 plus 6, 12 plus 6, 18? I feel like that's not right. The 12, 16? Doesn't matter. We made it more than 2 weeks before making another Sephora purchase, at least. So that's exciting. So on the 28th of January, I purchased the Skin Fix Eczema and Hand Repair Cream. So it's interesting. I remember being in Sephora. This was an in-store purchase. And I think I went in specifically for the Fenty Skin Total Cleanser Makeup Removing Cleanser. I want to say this had just become available in store, and I really wanted to pick this up. I wasn't intending to pick up the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter, like the powder foundation, but I did pick that up as well, and I loved that. Side note, I did not love the Fenty cleanser. It was just okay in my opinion, not something I would finish, or not something I would repurchase. I did finish it, but as I was in line, I saw the Skin Fix hand cream in the little like stations of death, like the stanchions by the checkout. And I live in Minnesota. It was end of January, getting towards like February. Like that is like literally the dead cold, like the dead of winter here. Super loud outside, I'm sure. Where you literally, like, your skin is so dry, chapped, and crusty that you want to cry. It hurts so bad. So I picked this up, and that hand cream is great. It's so moisturizing. It just is such a good one. I definitely will pick this up again this winter time. Then February 23rd, so we made it almost a full month without purchasing anything from Sephora. So props to me. Like, that's really good considering how frequently I used to purchase makeup. I've been really good the last few months this year, but actually maybe no, I haven't. Anyway, we're talking about 2021 here. Can you guys tell I haven't talked to anyone today? That's why I'm so rambly. Okay, so this was an online purchase. So the Urban Decay Naked Wild West eyeshadow palette released. I was super excited about it. Definitely wanted to pick it up. And then it looks like I also threw in a Farmacy Honey Butter Beeswax Lip Balm, which I don't remember ever purchasing like online. Like, I feel like I purchased in store before, but I don't remember doing an online purchase, but I guess I did. I'm wondering if there was some sort of deal where if you spent $50, you got like a coupon for like 15% off a later purchase. Like, in my head, I'm wondering if that's why, because I don't see myself like purchasing this lip balm unless I feel like I had to reach some sort of threshold. I have since used up the Farmacy lip balm. It is a great one if you're looking for something to really hydrate your lips. And that is something I could see myself actually picking up again with that hand cream, maybe as like a Minnesota essentials for the winter. The Urban Decay Naked Wild West eyeshadow palette, I just recently hit a pan in one of the eyeshadows within that palette, which is super exciting. That's gotten a ton of use out of me. I will say I was a little bit disappointed. No, I wasn't. I don't know what I was expecting. No, it's a great palette. It's not like my favorite palette in my collection, but it's a good one. March 7th, 2021. So we made it another 2 weeks. All right, here we go. This is a rather large purchase that I made. And this is why I think I had like a 15% off coupon. But I purchased the Kosas Cloud Set Baked and Setting Powder. Again, in my head, I've owned this powder for so much longer, or maybe I've just like completely lost track of the sense of time, because the last year of my life has felt like 10 years. That could be why. Could be why. But I purchased the Kosas Cloud Set Powder, which I'm currently working on in my Rolling Project 10 pan, fingers crossed, hoping I will have that as an empty before the end of the year. I also purchased a nail polish, the Cosmic Blur nail polish from Nails ink. And then two of the worst products that I tried last year. The Say Dew Balm Bouncy Marshmallow Cream / Liquid. Like, I think it's technically a liquid highlight, but it's such a thick product. It's more like a cream. And I purchased it in the shade Lilac. That was such a terrible product. I decluttered that. I also purchased the Say Mini Glowy Super Gel Star Glow Highlighter, liquid highlight. I made myself finish this up, and thankfully I only purchased this in a mini size, but this was another terrible product in my opinion. I just did not like it. My packaging was also like faulty, so that was annoying. I also purchased the Olaplex No. 3 Hair Perfector. I've gone through many bottles of this. This is like a favorite hair product in my collection, so not surprised to see that. Also, the Danessa Myricks Power Cream Bronzer. I use this quite a bit, but I recently decluttered this in my bronzer declutter just because for me it was more a tone, like a shade thing. It wasn't like my perfect cream bronzer shade, and I have many other cream bronzers in my collection that I preferred over this one. I thought it was a great formula. It was really just a shade thing for me in my ultimate decision to declutter that. I also purchased the LYS Secure Skin Gripping Serum Primer. I am also currently working on this in my Rolling Project 10 pan. It is on my face today. I assume that I will have this one done very shortly. I purchased a pack of the Slip Scrunchies. I was gonna say I used to love these. I still love them, but I feel like there's so many cheaper alternatives to these now that this was probably the last time I purchased the Silk Slip Scrunchies. I also purchased the LYS Beauty Triple Fix Serum Foundation, which I did recently declutter. This is a nice foundation. I have a shade that wasn't perfect for me, and I have other foundations that personally look better on my skin. But I still would recommend this formula. It's really thin and serum-like. For me, it was one of those foundations that like aged my skin, but I feel like could be so beautiful on other people's skin. So I decluttered mine, but I purchased that at that point in time too. And that was the end of that very long, lengthy purchase. So then a month later, on April 8th, and I believe this has to be during the Sephora VIB sale, which I feel like April 8th feels really early, but I'm also proud of myself for making it a full month without making a purchase at Sephora. Okay, so this is gonna be a lengthy one because I always go buck wild during the Sephora VIB sale, but I purchased the Replica Bubble Bath travel size perfume. This was nice, but not something that I ultimately would purchase in a full size. I also purchased the Kosas Air Brow Tinted Brow Gel. This was in a purse that got stolen out of my vehicle. So I used this a few times and never really got to like form a true opinion on it before my purse was stolen. So that's great. I also purchased the Natasha Denona Circle Loco eyeshadow palette. I shouldn't have purchased this palette. Like, I just should not have purchased this palette. I decluttered it. The Danessa Myricks Color Fix Eye Cream and Lip product in the shade Cupcake. This was just sticky in my opinion, and I didn't love it on the cheeks. I thought it was a beautiful color, but ultimately the formula was just not a favorite of mine, so I have since decluttered that as well. I purchased the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. I feel like I've owned this longer than I have, but I made good progress on this. It's a really nice concealer, especially if you're looking for something more full coverage, yet still hydrating underneath the eyes. I just feel like it's a little bit thicker than I typically prefer, and I like the Kosas one better, so I personally wouldn't repurchase this, especially now I'm seeing it's $38. Some of these prices I feel like have gone up since I purchased them. Like $38 for a concealer. Maybe that was what it cost when I bought it, but that just sounds so expensive. I purchased the Milk Flex highlighter in the shade Blitzed, which was a really beautiful rose gold shade. I did declutter this though because there was like actual chunks of glitter in this, which I just didn't love on my face. You guys, some of my favorite products of all time got purchased during this Sephora VIB sale. We have the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumper. If you are not new to this channel, you know I'm obsessed with that. I have finished the original and I have 3 others in different shades. It is like my favorite lip plumping product because it is not painful on the lips, but it makes your lips look so juicy, like DSL lips to like the fullest extent in the best way. And then I also purchased the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Bronzer in Kiss of Copper. a favorite blush of mine. So good. I also purchased the Patrick Top Major Sculpt Cream Contour in the shade She's Statuesque, which is the lightest of the three. This is a really great product, especially if you're looking for like a bronzer and contour. Perfect for travel, a very easy product to work with. Very happy that I have that in my collection. Another favorite product that came into my life during that Sephora VIB sale is the Lawless Make Me Blush in the shade Angel Suede, one of my favorite blushes of all time, such a good one. I also purchased the Melt MaryJane eyeshadow palette. This is not a great eyeshadow palette. Like, the quality of this is not great, but I don't think I'll declutter it because every time I take the time to use this palette to create a look, there's a lot of fallout. It's a bit of a hassle, but I always love the way that my eyeshadow looks come out. I also love just Melt's aesthetic and the time that they take to put into their packaging, like the artwork and stuff. So I like this palette enough to keep it. I just don't, like, I would not recommend this to like an eyeshadow beginner or someone who is looking for like a quick and easy eyeshadow palette. That is not what this is. There's a lot of fallout. You definitely need like Gorilla Glue for your eyes to keep things up there, but those are my thoughts on that. Next up, I also picked up the Supergoop Mini Glow Oil SPF 50. I love this product. I think I may have lost my mini, but I purchased a full size, which I thought I lost when I moved, and then I found it this summer and I was so happy about it. This is like a tanning oil, if you will, but it has SPF 50. So it's like an SPF, but it's an oil, so it looks like you're like a glistening Baywatch goddess, but still protecting your skin. Every time I've used that, I have not gotten any sort of sunburn. I think about like when I think of oil in the sun, I think about, I almost vomited. I think about when I used to, like, the thought of this actually like pains me. When I used to think it was cool to try and burn in the sun so that I could have a tan and I would get just baby oil. Like, my skin is sizzling at the thought of that. Is anyone else in my shoes? And then you like actually learn that like you wrinkle in the sun and you become horrified. How you change as you get older. So interesting to me. Next up, I have the Innisfree Lip Balm, which I totally forgot about. And I don't think I decluttered this, but I literally have no idea what happened to this. I had mine in the shade Mint Earl Grey, which was a soft peach shade. And if I'm remembering correctly, it would kind of stain the lips. So in terms of like, I didn't love that it stained my lips because I feel like it was one of those products that was super nourishing on the lips. Like, it definitely made my lips feel healed and feel better. But because it was a tinted product, I always felt like I had to be careful in my application. $10, great price, but I'm seeing that it looks like this is possibly no longer available anymore. And I have no idea what happened to mine anyway. I also purchased the Olaplex No. 8 Bond Intense Moisture Mask. I have since finished this. For me, I think the No. 3 is just a better fit for my hair care routine. This was fine, but I didn't feel like it made much of a difference. Speaking of hair, I like literally need to get a haircut, like take a lot of hair off. I'm so sick of my hair, but like I feel like I'm terrified to get my hair cut. But I think I'm gonna do it in the next couple weeks. So be on the lookout for a new hair for me. Give me some recommendations in the comments, I'm scared. I also purchased the 7 Virtues Santal Vanilla Perfume. I think I meant to purchase Vanilla Woods, but I ended up with this, and this is one of those perfumes that truly made me feel nauseous and sick to my stomach. I had to pass this one along because it just made me feel ill. And like, I'm not super sensitive to fragrance, but this one for some reason I could not handle. So then we're still in that same purchase. I also purchased the Tom Ford Soleil Glow Bronzer, which I love this bronzer, but I don't think it's worth $75. I thought it was gonna be like one of the big compact sizes, like what the Marc Jacobs came in, but it's like a little tiny little thing. Beautiful bronzer, beautiful product. I don't feel like it's worth $75. So that was all that came in that purchase that I ordered online for the VIB sale. But then I went in store on April 9th and I purchased more products. So I purchased the Fenty Beauty Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Blush in the shade 5 Strawberry Drip, which this is like my favorite cream blush, especially of last year. I used this so freaking much. I did not plan to buy this, but when I was in store, for some reason I felt like I had to have it, and I'm not mad about it because I used it so much last year. I'm so sorry for the noise outside. I used this so much last year and still this year. Like, it's like the perfect sunburnt blush for me, and I love it so much. I also purchased the Fenty Beauty Eavesdrop Blurring Skin Tint, which I did, like, I went in store specifically to buy this. I didn't love this one at first, but over time, I really did come to enjoy this skin tint. I still have it in my collection, and this might be one that I would purchase if I finish mine and other skin tints in my collection. Like, I got a lot of foundation to get through, a lot, but this was a good one. However, I could see that this wouldn't work for everyone. If you have dry skin, you really need to prep your skin well for this to look good, in my opinion at least. And then I also purchased the Sol de Janeiro Mini Boom Dia Bright Body Cream. And this smelled really good, but it was more of a fall scent to me. Like, it kind of had like a vanilla plum scent, and for me it was more suited to like the winter time. So I wouldn't purchase that again in like the springtime, but like now that we're getting into winter, like maybe I need to go to Sephora today and pick this up. I don't, because I have plenty of body creams, but that's a good scent. I do like that one and would recommend it. So I'm still in that same purchase. I purchased the Olaplex No. 7 Bonding Hair Oil, and I feel like I've had my No. 7 hair oil. I actually just finished that last night. That's so ironic. I feel like I had had that hair oil for multiple years. Like, we're talking like 3 years. So I'm really surprised that I didn't pick it up until April of last year. Not my favorite hair oil. I definitely prefer the Moroccan. I just like the scent of the Moroccan hair oil personally. The Olaplex one is still good, but for me, I would just prefer the Moroccan over this one. I do have another No. 7 hair oil in my collection though, so I still have another one to get through. I also purchased the Jouer Powder Highlighter in the shade Rose Quartz. I only purchased this because it was an impulse purchase while I was in store, and I ended up decluttering it because I did not like the formula, so that's a bummer. And then I purchased 2 of the Rare Beauty Stay Vulnerable Glossy Bombs in the shade Neutral Pink, as well as Nearly Neutral and Nearly Apricot. I have finished off, I think, Nearly Apricot, and I still have Nearly Neutral in my collection. Fingers crossed, maybe I could finish up Nearly Neutral before the end of the year. It's a nice gloss formula, but it's one of those formulas that I feel like when it's on my lips, I feel like I constantly like have to like rub my lips together. It's like one of those formulas that can get kind of distracting and annoying. But so I wouldn't repurchase it again. Like, I wouldn't purchase anymore. I should have just purchased 1 instead of 2, but I will empty both of those out rather than like have them go to waste, if you will. So then it looks like on 4/19, so April 19th, 10 days later, I purchased 2 travel perfumes. I will say around this time last year, I was getting really into perfumes, scents, and just like exploring fragrance a little bit more. So I picked up the Erin Amber Musk as well as the Erin High Cat Jasmine. And I will say I wasn't a huge fan of either of these. I personally didn't feel like the scent, like I felt like I sprayed it and then it like had disappeared. Like, I couldn't smell it at all. Specifically with the Amber Musk. With the Jasmine, I didn't love the scent. It wasn't a scent for me. So I did finish up both of these, I believe. I think both of them I've emptied out. One is possibly sitting as an empty in my car right now, but it's empty. But would not purchase these, and I am so thankful I purchased the travel size in these because I almost purchased the Amber Musk in a full size, and it wouldn't have worked for me. May 11th, I feel like I'm running out of breath here. No, May 4th, I purchased 2 products on May 4th. Did I accidentally like screenshot this weird? I feel like I did. Anyway, on May 4th, I picked up the Bite Beauty Daycation Whipped Cream Blush, as well as the LYS No Limits Matte Bronzer. I remember being so excited about the Bite Beauty blush, and I love the blush. Still have it in my collection. I think it's beautiful. Obviously, Bite Beauty isn't a brand anymore, so you can't get it, but I'm so happy to have that in my collection. I have the shade Melon Mojito, which is a beautiful glowing peach shade, but I actually feel like it's more of like a pink than a peach. The LYS bronzer didn't work for me. I felt like it applied to my skin personally pretty patchy, so I have since decluttered that. And then on May 11th, I purchased the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. I remember being so excited about this eyeshadow palette, and for me, I feel like this is one of like the more dud eyeshadow palettes in terms of Natasha Denona. Like, it's definitely my least favorite of all of my midi size palettes. There's some beautiful shades in there, but there's also some shades that just don't perform that well, so a little bit of a bummer there. And then on May 26th, I think Samantha March had been reading about the Dior Powder No Powder so much that I finally had to just know for myself how good the powder was. And I do really enjoy the Dior Powder No Powder. So yeah, isn't it the Backstage Face and Body? I swear it's called the Powder No Powder. But I picked it up in the shade 2. Here is my purchase of the full-size Supergoop Glow Oil. Again, love that product. And then again, I was exploring my fragrance preferences and I picked up the Valentino Voce Viva perfume. And this was good, but not something I wanted to own in a full size. I could see myself purchasing this in a travel size again, but it wasn't something I wanted a full-size experience of, you know? Like, typically you do want the full size, you know, but this, not the case. Okay, it looks like I purchased in store. Okay, so I purchased those 3 products in store, and then it looks like that same day I made an online purchase, and I purchased another shade of the Lawless Forget the Filler in the shade Daisy Pink because I loved the Lawless original so much. Daisy Pink, really beautiful baby pink shade, love it for the lips. And then I also purchased the Milk Cosmetics Cream Blush Light in Golden Hour, which is such a beautiful cream blush. And I was watching back my Sephora VIB sale, and it's funny because in that video I like took everything out of my box and I was like, wait, I know I purchased the Milk Cream Blush. And then so many people commented on that video and were like, what happened to the cream blush? Where's the Milk Cream Blush? Did you find out where the missing cream blush is? And it turns out I never ordered it. So then I must have gone on and ordered it again later in May. And I love that blush. It's one of my favorites in my collection. I remember this June 2nd purchase. I can't remember why I was in store at Sephora, but whatever I went in for, they didn't have. And so I had to buy something. Do you know what I mean? And so I walked by an impulse stanchion, and I had never tried anything from Freck, but had heard of the brand, and so I thought that the Cheek Slime blush and lip tint in the shade Fielding sounded just like the perfect product for me. Alas, it was not. It was a really deep rust shade, which was just too deep for my skin, and I just did not like the way that this looked. I didn't like it was hard to apply. It was very pigmented, super liquidy, just like not user friendly. Decluttered that pretty quickly. Okay, moving on to June 4th. I decided I needed to round out my Lawless Forget the Filler collection at this point in time. There was only 3 shades out, so I picked up the 3rd shade, which was Velvet, a rosy mauve, also a really beautiful shade. I currently have that pulled for the fall time. Love it so much. I also felt like I needed another Bare Minerals bronzer because I loved mine so much, so I picked up Kiss of Pink to add to my collection. And then I was feeling in a very luxury mood, and so I decided to pick up the Westman Atelier Lit Up Glow Highlighter Stick in the shade Nectar. I love this product so much. It is so ridiculously priced for the amount of product that you get, but I love it so much. I wish I could afford to try more Westman Atelier, but like, we're just not living the luxe life right now. Like, we need to like pump the brakes and try Westman Atelier later in life, but that's such a good product. And then I also purchased the Pat McGrath Venus in Flores Luxe Eyeshadow Palette in Voyeuristic Vixen. This is a really beautiful quad, but I will say I don't reach for it enough, especially considering how much I spent on it. Like, I need to pull for this more. Maybe I need to bring this one out and do a really beautiful mauve-y, pinky look for the fall, because I do not use this enough. Moving on to June 7th, I purchased a refill of my Isle of Paradise tanning water. This is like my favorite tanning water, although I will say I have been trying a new tanning product. I think it's Bali Body. It's a tanning foam though, so it does have a color guard, which can be irritating, but I do like the tan better in terms of the way that it wears off over my Isle of Paradise tanning water. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to buy my Isle of Paradise tanning water anymore, because I still will, but just throwing that out there. And then on June 11th, I picked up the Artist Couture Supreme Bronze eyeshadow palette. I love Artist Couture's eyeshadow palettes. This palette did not disappoint. It's such a beautiful one, especially if you like warm bronze tones. Then we have a June 14th purchase. It looks like I was going a little wild in June. A little bit wild in June. And as I reflected on my purchases last year in my makeup rehab series, June was a wild month in terms of my makeup spending. But on June 14th, I ordered online the Huda Glowish Multi-Dew Skin Tint, which I do really like. Now this one can lean a little bit dewy. Like this one can lean a little bit too glowy sometimes. But if you get like the perfect amount of product, like if you don't go overboard, it's really beautiful. And then I also picked up 2 products from Makeup by Mario. Both of these I love. I'm so happy to have these in my collection. I picked up the Soft Glow highlighter in the shade Pearl, which I love because it is a little bit more subtle, which is definitely what I've been preferring in my highlights lately. I feel like I look really glowy today, but I've been preferring like day to day a more natural subtle glow. And then I also picked up the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Blush Stick in the shade Earthy Pink. Love this so much. Love the tone, love the shade, love the performance. It's so easy to use. One of my favorite cream blush formulas in my entire collection, as well as one of my favorite shades as well. Ooh, I forgot about this purchase. On June 11th, I purchased the Kosas Chemistry. I think this was the deodorant, and I don't think this worked for me at all. Like, I don't remember what happened to this. I definitely don't have it right now. I definitely didn't finish this off. I have no idea where this ended up, but I don't have that anymore. And then I also purchased the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in the Heat. So like the one that plumps your lips. This does kind of sting your lips a little bit. I haven't used it that much, but I did just recently pull it in my most recent Shop My Stash. So I'm going to get some more use out of that. And then I also purchased another tanning water in this purchase. On June 16th, I went in store and purchased some Shiseido facial cottons. And I thought I had been over these long before last year, but I guess not. Since then, I have so many of the makeup erasers that work so well for me. I'm over the facial cottons, which is really nice because now I don't have to spend $12 every however often, but I guess I purchased those last July. On August 22nd, I made an online order. I remember I really wanted to try the Melt Sex Foil Liquid Highlight. And then it looks like along with that purchase, I purchased the Kosas Wet Lip Oil Plumping Treatment. I do love the Kosas lip oils. I've been a huge fan of them, so I wanted to try the plumping treatment. I don't feel like there's any difference between the lip oils and the plumping treatments, and I don't feel like it plumps your lips, but I do really like the shade Unzipped, which is really beautiful, like milky pink shade. So I'm not mad to have that. And then the Melt Sex Foil was terrible. I had picked mine up in the shade Peaches and Cream, which was too dark for me. And it was like a thick, dry formula. So like even as like a body highlight, it just like, it didn't look good. So I've decluttered that. On September 12th, I purchased the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Eyeshadow. I remember being so freaking excited for this because I really like Milk Makeup as a brand, and I had been wanting to try a new eyeshadow primer. This is god-awful. I've been trying to use this up. In fact, I used it today. I've been trying to use this up, and I am bound and determined for this to be an empty by the end of the year, but it has not been a pleasant ride using it. On September 17th, I remember, I think Sephora was doing like 30% off of their foundations. So I purchased the Clinique Even Better Clinical Serum Foundation, as well as the YSL New Bare Look Tint Hydrating Skin Tint. I love both of these so much. Both are great products. The Clinique has such a good wear time, as well as, what's the word I'm looking for? It has like a good medium coverage, but it's like a serum foundation, so it's super thin on the face. I love that product. And then the YSL Bare Look Hydrating Skin Tint is also super beautiful for just like a no makeup, like even your skin tone out, but not be too heavy. Really beautiful for the summertime. And then I also picked up the Huda Beauty Bomb Brows Full and Fluffy Tinted Brow Gel. Love that product so much. Still have that in my collection. That is something I would repurchase and would recommend. And what's interesting is when I first started testing this out, I thought that this was going to be a fail of a product for me because of the way that the applicator wand is. It's like long, and I didn't feel like I could control it in the way that I wanted to. But over time, I've come to find like a way to use it, and I love it so much. I think it looks really beautiful. in the brows. So yeah, so I made it almost 2 full months without purchasing anything then, which is wild. But on November 12th, I believe this was during the Sephora VIB sale as well, I did purchase in store. I purchased the Rare Beauty Discovery eyeshadow palette, which I did not love and I have decluttered. I also purchased the Huda Beauty Glowish, when did I purchase? I purchased the Glowish bronzer this year as well, I feel like, but it's not in this. That's interesting. There are a few products that I've noticed, like for example, the Huda chocolate eyeshadow palettes. I feel like I had also purchased in Sephora last year and they're not, I don't know where they are. But anyway, I purchased the Huda Glowish blush in the shade Berry Juicy. Beautiful, very pigmented. You do have to be careful, especially me, because this is a deeper blush shade for me and it is really pigmented, but it is beautiful. Also the Tower 28 Sunny Days SPF 30 Tinted Sunscreen Foundation. I really like this. I feel like that's a polarizing opinion. I feel like a lot of people did not like this, but for me it works really, really well and I think it's beautiful on the skin. And then I also picked up the Briogeo Superfoods Banana Shampoo and Conditioner Set, my favorite shampoo and conditioner, and was happy to get it at a discount during the VIB sale. My camera's gonna die and I'm gonna be upset. Okay, then online on the 16th, I purchased the Lawless Mini Glam eyeshadow palette. Happy with this purchase. I really like the Lawless Mini eyeshadow palettes. I didn't have good luck with her large eyeshadow palette, but the minis I think are good. I also purchased the Kopari Pink Souffle Body Mask. This is such an interesting product. I thought it was gonna be like a body moisturizer, but it's like actually a mask you put on your body for like 5 to 10 minutes and then you rinse it off. I don't really feel like it necessarily does anything and it's like sticky and wouldn't recommend that one. And then I also picked up the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz eyeshadow palette. Love that palette so much. That's such a good one. I'm so happy to have that in my collection. I cannot wait for the Empowered eyeshadow palette to come out. And then I also picked up the Huda Beauty Silk Balm in Rose Quartz. This is such a good lip gloss formula. If you want a glossy lip that also feels like a balm and is super nourishing, it's an amazing product. And I like the Rose Quartz shade because it's a really beautiful pink. And then on the 3rd of December, I picked up the Dior Forever bronzer in the shade 4. Love that bronzer, love the compact. I had been eyeing that for quite some time before I actually purchased it, so very happy that I added that to my collection. I also picked up the Artist Couture Mini Supreme Nudes eyeshadow palette, which I didn't realize had 4 of the shades that I already had in my Supreme Supreme Nudes eyeshadow palette. I should have done a little bit more research, but I definitely didn't need this eyeshadow palette and I have decluttered that. And then I also picked up the Isle of Paradise Pro Glow Spray Tan Kit. This is such an amazing kit because of the sprayer in this. I have gotten such a more even tan, specifically on my hands. There's definitely been improvements in my hand tan this year and it's all thanks to this kit. So I highly, 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 highly recommend this self-tanning kit from Isle of Paradise. It's so good. And then finally, my second to last purchase of last year, on December 8th, I picked up the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Powder Blush in the shade Desert Rose. I remember I was waiting for my mom because we were going to go tour an apartment together. I actually signed a lease for the apartment that I currently live in. Like, this is a happy day in my life, like very happy day. And I told myself I should not be purchasing any makeup, but I went into Sephora because my mom was running late, and I'm so glad that I picked this blush up. This might be my favorite blush in my collection now, like even more than Buxom Seychelles. In terms of like my powder blushes, it's so freaking beautiful. Love it so much. And then the last purchase I made was on December 20th, and I purchased the Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. I love this palette so much. I think it's such a good eyeshadow palette. One of my favorites in my collection, especially in terms of just like a neutral, everyday, perfect, office appropriate, easy to travel with. Although the Patrick Ta shades do break easier, so I don't necessarily know I would travel with it, but I mean, it would be a great travel palette. But those are all of my purchases that I made at Sephora in 2021, both in-store and online. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope you're not judging me. Let me know, did you purchase a lot at Sephora last year? Also, let me know if there's any other like installments of this series or ideas that you have that you would want to see. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and supporting me, for watching this video. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye.